Welcome to the Capitol Center, Landover, Maryland, where unbeaten 6th-ranked DePaul meets the Hoyas of Georgetown. At the beginning of the weekend, we had 3 unbeaten teams. 2 of them went down to defeat yesterday. Clemson, unbeaten, playing host to Duke. Tommy Amaker, with 15 seconds left in regulation time, buries this 3-footer. He gets the bounce. It goes into overtime, and Duke upsets Clemson 105-103. Meanwhile, the other unbeaten team was Iowa, playing host to Ohio State, and they ran into Dennis Hopson, who scored 36 points, and the Buckeyes upset the Hawkeyes 80-76. Billy, that brings us to this game. Put it in perspective.
This is the Rodney Dangerfield game. DePaul has had no respect, unranked before the season started, and Joey Meyer's been here before with an undefeated team. They've got to get over this hump psychologically. All the pressure's on DePaul, in my opinion. 3rd straight year these two clubs have met. DePaul going against Georgetown. The starting lineups in a moment.
CBS Sports presents college basketball. Today's game between the DePaul Blue Demons and the Georgetown Hoyas is sponsored by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. By Dodge, setting new standards of performance. And by Dodge, America's best back trucks are Ram tough. The Capitol Center, Landover, Maryland, for the 3rd straight year. DePaul against Georgetown. Joey Meyer in his 3rd year. His team 16-0 coming into this game. Ranked 6th in the country. Kevin Golden, 6'9" at 1 forward. Terrence Green, 6'4", their emotional leader. Comegys coming on strong in his senior year at 6'9" at center. Strickland, he's the point guard, the assist man. And Kevin Edwards, one of those pleasant surprises in college basketball. John Thompson, the head man in his 15th year at Georgetown. As we're ready to go, Ben Guillory going up against Comegys, and DePaul has the opening tip. Georgetown now, let's set it for you offensively. Dwayne Bryant and Mark Tillman are the guards. Ben Guillory, 51, as the center. Perry McDonald and Reggie Williams, the forwards for John Thompson. Williams leading the Big East in scoring. Comegys tries one, and the rebound is picked up. Up it comes, McDonald.
Here's that full court press. And DePaul's going to see it all day long with multiple people coming at him.
Fortunately, Comegys recovered on that steal, and he is fouled as he makes a move into the baseline as they came to the line side on Strickland. Here's Williams leading the Big East in scoring, a premier player. McDonald, a fearless player at the other forward spot. Guillory, a 7-foot junior college transfer. Bryant, one of the 2 freshmen. He was the New Orleans Player of the Year. And Mark Tillman, the Washington, D.C. Player of the Year last season, as Comegys goes to the line.
Dallas Comegys was one of the most unusual players and has one of the most unusual careers in college basketball history. As a freshman, everybody expected him to be the man to set the world on fire. He had 3 years of in-and-out play, and this year he has been the man playing as well as anybody in the United States.
He's taken over the leadership. He gets one of the 2, makes it 2-1 in favor of Georgetown, and now DePaul with their own pressure.
1-2, 1-1 full court press. If that theory, Gary, that teams that like to press don't like to be pressed works out, it should be interesting because they're both pressing each other.
Excellent ball movement. Mark Tillman on the assist from Dwayne Bryant. Bryant leads Georgetown in assists. Comegys almost walked to the ball. DePaul's got to get their composure back a little bit. Up it comes to Strickland, and they're shaking right now. This is what has happened in the past 2 years. In 84-85, DePaul came in here ranked number 1, Georgetown 2, and they were beaten. Last year, Reggie Williams scored 30 points to lead the Hoyas to victory. And that brings us to today.
In the horizon, where DePaul has only lost 9 ball games, 1 over 90. Good feed.
Going to have a traveling call, though, and the ball will go to DePaul. Both teams picking them up now full court as Kevin Golden will inbound for the Blue Demons.
As you watch this game move on, DePaul is an interesting team in which they have got 2 really superstar players, Strickland and Comegys, and the rest play a super role.
Here's Edwards, who's been such a surprise. Comegys ducking inside. Guillory can't stop him, and Comegys, you can see how much more enthusiasm he's playing with.
He really is. He's now playing as a fierce competitor. And he always had good TV games in the past. I remember as a freshman, the great game he had against Louisville.
But a bad practice player,
yes,
right?
The day before, Ray Meyer just had to put him down the other end of practice and do your own thing.
Reggie Williams averaging over 22 points a game. Golden, he's a role player. He's a blender on this team with a rebound. Nice movement. Comegys, beautiful pass to Terrence Green. And DePaul seemingly has settled down now. They lead by 1.
Well, there's an example. You press a team that also is used to that pressure, and they're attacking instead of being passive.
Joey Myers says, I'm more relaxed. His team is playing more relaxed. There's Kamaji's, the all-time shot blocker. DePaul coming up with one break to Kevin Edwards, and look out for this unbeaten team. They're looking good.
Now, there was a case where Bryant made the good one-on-one move, had the open shot, but when you've got a great shot blocker like Dallas Kamaji's coming into the game, he's got over 235 a shot blocked in his career.
That was his 53rd this year.
He'll be right up there around at 100 again.
Inside it goes to Williams. Williams, a consummate all-around player. Nice touch off the glass. 6'7".
There's one of the great inside players getting a shot off against one of the great shot blockers.
Here's Strickland, aware of the people behind him. Green from outside, the sophomore from Flint, Michigan. Williams comes out with it. He's third in the Big East in rebounding. Break down the floor, McDonald. That'll be a charge on Perry McDonald.
Really trying to force something that wasn't there, Gary. A good break and an outlet pass by Reggie Williams, who got away with a push-off. And here comes Highsmith in the game, another outstanding athlete.
He replaces Ben Guillory. Highsmith, 6'8", a 27-year-old Army veteran who comes in at center. Billy, tempo-wise, you think DePaul wants to keep it up at this pace?
Well, they've been able to play both styles of game this year. And when you've got an outstanding guard like Strickland, you're probably in a pretty good shape to play either style. Here goes Strickland right there.
Beautiful change in midair by Strickland. Makes it 9-6 in favor of the Blue Demons. Other end, that's Tillman, and he is fouled. The foul will go on Terrence Green.
Yeah, that was a great block by Kamaji's. Caught it on the way up. He has super timing.
Coming in now will be another point guard. This is Bobby Winston, a sophomore out of Washington, D.C. They will continue all game long to just send people in by waves. They've used every player, Billy.
Well, that's what Strickland has to be careful for, and so will Joey Meyer in this particular game, because he's going to be asked to handle the ball a lot, and there are going to be fresh people on him throughout the course of the game.
Tillman is struggling. He is shooting only 51% from the free throw line, 38% from the field goal range, and he's the guy who early in the year was shooting well, and he's been struggling late.
There's no reason for it either, because he has the good motion. He just needs to get a little confidence back.
9-7 DePaul. Off to Strickland.
Now you notice what DePaul does. They don't require Strickland to handle that ball in the backcourt. They get him up in the middle of the court.
Kamaji's difficult shot. Green had it for a moment. Here comes Tillman, Mark Tillman, out of Gonzaga High School in the D.C. area. Brings it back out. That's a three-point attempt. Followed by Highsmith, and Tillman's got it. No basket. He traveled to the ball.
Again, credit Dallas Kamaji's. Although he does not get the block there, you've got to credit it with him, because Tillman realized he was in the area.
Golden is doing a pretty good job, Billy, of keeping them honest inside on those defensive boards.
There's something I'm noticing here early in the ballgame. This floor seems to be very slippery.
It's because of the ice underneath, you think?
Well, they had a hockey match in here last night, probably just put it down this morning, and it really is kind of slippery.
Capitals getting beat last night. 9-7 to score, DePaul.
Here's Georgetown in a 1-3-1 zone. Perry McDonald running the baseline.
Oh, what a pass that is. Strickland, that was from Edwards. Kamaji's over Highsmith, can't get it. And it's going to go to DePaul. They're staying with them on the boards right now, and this is a good rebounding team, as there are +8, Georgetown is, coming into this game.
It's brewed in America and in other great beer-drinking countries. It's the only beer that must, by license and authority, always use Bavarian hops for flavor and be sent back to Munich to be tested by German brewmasters, tested for taste and quality. It's Lowenbrau, and that's how you get 600 years of Bavarian heritage in one smooth American beer.
This world calls for Lowenbrau right now.
Something stirring. And there's no denying its energy. Its force. Its arrival. A power that's making temperatures rise. Hearts melt. Pulses race. This phenomenon goes by the name of Daytona. The brand new front-wheel drive Dodge Daytona. Be prepared for even more excitement per mile, more heartbeats per minute. Dodge Daytona. Dodge, setting new standards of performance.
DePaul by 2 after running off 6 unanswered points. Last night, look at this, Billy. North Carolina continues to impress. They may take over the #1 spot now that Iowa's beaten. Indiana over Minnesota. UNLV bouncing back after last week's loss.
North Carolina played without Kenny Smith last night in that game also.
So you figure the Tar Heels will be #1 now?
I don't really keep up with the polls that much, but I believe they probably will get the votes to be in the #1 position.
Saw Syracuse in the second 5. I'll tell you, they're going to move up after that impressive win yesterday. Baseline, Terrence Green can't get it. Highsmith with a rebound. Paul's missed a couple inside. Comegys missing 1, Green 1, but they still have a 2-point lead. Here's Bobby Winston, 6'5" point guard. He can look inside against that defense very effectively. Tillman will bring it back outside of McDonald. Here's Winston into Williams, turnaround jumper. Golden's there again, but Williams got it away from him. The quick hands of Reggie Williams.
Good job by Golden to grab Williams by the legs, not let him get loose.
They tried to backdoor to Highsmith, and he's having a tough time. It'll be Georgetown's basketball. And Billy, I'm impressed that DePaul is staying with them physically.
Well, Georgetown does not have a big inside game. They're a relatively small perimeter type team. There's going to be a foul on Strickland, didn't get there in time. So it's not surprising to see somebody kind of dominate them inside. Comegys plays bigger than his height is listed. Golden is a good banger and position player, so they're in a position to be able to take care of Georgetown inside.
Even though Georgetown's the second best rebounding team in the Big East. So Winston will inbounds, that foul going on Rod Strickland, his first, and the second team foul against DePaul.
DePaul goes 2-3 zone, with Comegys right in the middle.
Reggie Williams, his stats are so impressive. Scoring, rebounding, field goal, and free throw percentage. He's doing it all.
And he's got great range on that jump shot. When he goes to the weak side, you have to be careful. He will put it up.
Into McDonald, blocked by Comegys. Great timing by Dallas, but Perry McDonald comes up with it.
Dallas Comegys is going to give them trouble all day because they do not have an inside power player. And he just stays away from people.
He's listed at 6'9", but he plays like 6'10" and a half with those long arms. There's a rebound, McDonald. He's tough in there. That's a foul on Golden. The basket will count.
And there's a case of the Georgetown quickness. They have so many outstanding perimeter players. And they keep them fresh with constant substitutions. And Perry McDonald just 6'4", if that. Comegys goes up for a block he can't get to, and there's McDonald beating Golden off his feet, gets him up with a little pump fake and lays it in.
First foul on Kevin Golden at the line. McDonald. He was a leading scorer in the history of New Orleans basketball. The first of 4 recruits from the New Orleans area. After back in the 70s, Steve Martin played for
good steal by
John
Reggie.
Thompson, and Reggie Williams on the steal, and a foul is going to go on Edwards. Check that. The man who just checked into the game, Stanley Brundy. Brundy checks in and commits a foul.
Here you're going to see where Dallas just gets a little lazy. Was not a good pass. You have to be careful when you play against Georgetown. Reggie's going to be right there. Good hands on the ball. A drill that Georgetown uses in practice. Just good hand quickness, and if you're going to be the man that inbounds the ball, particularly when they move Strickland all the way up at the half-court area so that he can deliver the ball on the break as opposed to bring it over half-court, you really have to be careful.
You can't get lazy against Georgetown. This time, bringing it in is Brundy, off to Strickland. Strickland tries to drive through the crowd, and he's not going to get away with it.
Oh, some spin move.
Williams, so good in the open court. Baseline, and the shot is good by Jaron Jackson, who's just checked in.
And here comes that trap in the corner. And a very big mistake thrown across court.
Also in the game is Andy Laux. That's 5 turnovers. Williams, 3-point attempt, Comegys, and now they need to slow it down, get their composure back.
Hey, Gary, Dallas must have heard you because he held up his hand and said, let's just relax a little bit. Now, here's that 1-3-1 defense by Georgetown.
14-9. After that timeout, DePaul has not been able to score. They were leading 9-7 at that stage.
They just swarm on you. Good pass inside. No place to go.
Strickland on the double pump, and the foul will go inside against Georgetown. Substitution coming in. Boy, they keep bringing him in. This is Sam Jefferson, a 6'9" freshman out of D.C. You got to check your scorecard in this game, right?
We did the opening game of the year this year with Georgetown and Arizona. And after about 5 or 6 minutes, John had all 10 players in multiple times, and you really have to keep up with the substitution pattern. What do you think it feels like to be playing against those guys coming at you like that?
They come in waves. They're relentless. Joey Meyer's team had a 9-7 lead, now trailing 14-9. Strickland misses the first one, misses the second. He's a poor free throw shooter, shooting only 51%.
It's very unusual to have a man that's going to be on the line that much at his position to be that kind of a free throw shooter. And same thing holds true at Kansas.
Yep, with Cedric Hunter.
Cedric Hunter is a guy that just doesn't make the free throws.
There's Highsmith. Out it comes to Strickland. Highsmith, who committed that foul a while ago, his second. Here is Strickland on a move, and again, Billy's trying to drive through too many people.
He's trying to do too much.
Reggie Williams running one-hander. Boy, is he quick or what?
He's not hitting them, but that was a sensational move as he glided on 1 foot.
Coming up next, following this, always an outstanding battle. The Doctor against Larry Bird, the Sixers against the Celtics. 1:30 Eastern today on Super Sunday.
Jonathan Edwards in the game, so John has used all 3 of his big post men.
They called Williams for a foul on that, Billy.
I didn't see it.
Reggie Williams committing the foul. I thought it was going the other way. 14-9, Georgetown.
Lauk, an outside shooter.
Since that break in the action, Georgetown has outscored DePaul 8-0. Kevin Edwards, there's the outside shot that they've lacked in years past. He's given them that. Kevin Edwards, the junior college transfer out of Lakeland Community College. Missing is Jaron Jackson. Outlets come to Strickland. Winston is back. Strickland sets it up to Edwards again. Broken up. The quick hands of Winston.
Off goes
Williams.
Reggie. Look at Dallas. Now that goes to show you how quick both of those players are. Dallas Comegys almost caught Reggie Williams. If it hadn't been for his burst of speed, he's in trouble. Comegys in trouble again.
Georgetown with a 10-0 run right now and trying to add to that advantage. You can see the turnovers, already 7 of them against Joey Meyer's team. Georgetown was down by 2. Now they have bumped it up to a 16-12 lead.
Glacier Bay, Alaska and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Glacier Bay means the one and only.
A legendary rivalry. The Doctor of Philadelphia. The Birdman of Boston. A clash of titans on CBS Sports. Next.
Gary, here's a problem when you have poor floor balance. Dallas Comegys the only man back on defense, and you'll see what happens as the ball gets loose down in the corner. You're going to have Williams take off, and Comegys the only man back. It causes problems for Georgetown, and they easily take advantage of it. See, no floor balance at all. Williams can break long, gets an easy basket.
DePaul has committed 7 turnovers, 4 in their last 5 possessions. Relentless defense here by the Hoyas. 16-12 Georgetown, 12:22 to go in the first half. Strickland off to Edwards. Edwards,
nice fake.
Doesn't get the ball to drop for him though, and Jonathan Edwards is checked into the game. Number 42 comes up with a rebound. Edwards has been out with back problems this year, missing 11 games, and he gets out with the basket will count, and he's fouled.
Well, Jonathan Edwards has a great deal of talent. A lot of people thought he would be brought in here and be the enforcer. It's taken him a little while. I don't know if his offensive game will ever really catch up with his defensive potential, but he certainly showed a fine play there, and it was going over the top of Dallas Comegys with that half hook was quite a play.
Terrence Green comes in, Andy Locks leaves as Edwards now with a chance for a 3-point play. Edwards, a sophomore out of New Orleans. That foul going on Comegys, his second. And there's Comegys ripping it out of there, getting the rebound. You didn't see that from Dallas a couple of years ago. He played a little soft sometimes, but he's gotten over some physical problems, and this is his senior year. He's taken over the leadership responsibility. Grundy up to Edwards. Edwards had 26 points the last time in the win against Evansville. Georgetown with a 12-3 run now to take this advantage.
Comegys is getting buried down inside that zone. He can't find a passing lane, so he steps out a little bit.
Had 3 men around him when he got the ball, too. Here's Edwards. And Edwards, that's a 2-pointer. That was close to being a 3-pointer. And Edwards, he can stroke it. And that's what Joey Meyer said. He is a big-time player. And you can see why. Excellent-looking shot. A 4-point lead now for the Hoyas.
You cannot allow a man to get the ball that easily down in low because he's going to be able to turn and face. Edwards wide open in the center of that zone.
Here's Jaron Jackson, yet another player from the New Orleans area, the sophomore. First time Georgetown slowed the ball down at all, Billy.
They're going to break somebody up in the center of that zone. It is wide open. There he is.
Sam Jefferson, the 6'9 freshman, air ball, and it's going to be DePaul's basketball.
That shot is there, Gary. The zone is very vulnerable right in the center.
There's McDonald coming in now. They continue to filter people back and forth. Terrence Green, who played a guard last year, now moved to the forward spot for DePaul. There's Comegys. Jumping out on him was Jonathan Edwards, but not in time, and now Dallas has 5 points.
You know, I think if you're going to play against Georgetown, it might be good to practice against 6 men. And I don't say that to try to be funny, because their hands are so quick and their bodies are so quick, they're going to be in places you don't normally expect.
Well, I think you think you're playing against 6 when you play them. There is Winston getting the roll.
There again is the softness of that 2-3 zone right down the middle.
20-16, Georgetown. Terrence Green, who is a high school All-American in football and basketball in Flint. Nice fake by Comegys.
Well, he's got both the jumper and the good move putting the ball on the floor. He really is developing this year, and based on performance and not height, into one of the best players in America.
Well, he's recruited out of Philadelphia. They thought he was going to be that. It's just taken some time to get there. His maturity has caught up with him.
Look for Georgetown to float Reggie Williams into the center.
Reggie, nice fake, gets Comegys up. Soft touch. Terry McDonald had it broken up that time. Good effort by Brundy. Brundy's an outstanding rebounder. He has 7 a game for this DePaul team, even though he's not a starter. And there is a foul on Bobby Winston.
Bobby Winston had all ball on that one.
Here they come, 3 players. For the first time, number 13, Charles Smith. Here comes Highsmith back in, and also Mark Tillman. We'll try to keep track of them for you. One thing, they got everybody involved, don't they?
Well, obviously, it really makes for a very good spirited practice session, because everybody's playing for important minutes of playing time. And the thing about it is they're all about the same size and quickness and have the same amount of athletic ability. So it doesn't make a lot of difference to John who he has on the floor.
Strickland, after missing his first 2 free throws, hits those 2, and substitution Andy Laux will come in. Laux, a very fine outside shooter, and Strickland will get a breather. There he is, Laux, the junior out of Elmhurst, Illinois. Last year, he struggled. He shot only 19% from outside. This year, he's shooting 51% on 3-point plays.
You notice how Joey Meyer has changed his zone a little bit. He's playing a 1-2-2, kind of a matchup now.
Trying to take that softness out of the middle.
Trying to take that obvious passing lane away that was right down the gut. Nice
Highsmith, and he gets the Hoyas a 2-point lead.
Ronnie Highsmith, they're all getting used to Comegys now, letting him get off his feet a little bit.
Here comes Edwards. Kevin Edwards. He was a guy that wasn't all that heavily recruited coming out of junior college, 6'3" junior. But he has been the final piece to this Joey Meyer team that's won their first 16 games.
Well, they're surrounding his zone now with some pretty good shooting talent. Oh, what a play!
Work. Green trying to get it to Comegys. Reggie Williams.
Reggie Williams is some kind of rebounder. You know, he doesn't look like he has enough strength to be in there, but very wiry and really quick off his feet.
A lot of people compare him to George Gervin, but he does some things Gervin doesn't do. His ability to go up on the boards, his defensive ability. In the shooting department, they might compare. Here's Smith, their defensive specialist. There's that soft spot, Billy, you're talking about.
Now, Georgetown not shooting well. They're getting the shots.
There's Edwards off to Terrence Green, and he's going to have a foul. It's going to be charging on Terrence Green.
Now, there's a case with Strickland out of the ball game. You don't have a man that's used to handling the break from the middle. Terrence Green tried the spin move. Here's a guy who's voted the outstanding football player in the state of Michigan. And you know what kind of football player he had to be?
Well, there's some talk that he was thinking about trying out with the Bears after his collegiate career is over. He's 6'4", 190. He is a scrapper. He does some of the dirty work inside for this Joey Meyer team.
Well, last year he was a guard completely. Now he's been moved up to the forward position.
Reggie Williams, 3-point.
It's going to start falling for him soon. He's just too good a player. And now the press goes back on.
He's shooting 51% this year and averaging 22.9.
Straight man press and then the trap. Now they know Golden's not going to put it up from out there, so they don't have to go out quite so hard. That was the breakdown, Gary. They went out on a guy who's not a shooter, and which leaves open a man who can score against you. So you got to let Golden handle the ball down on that part of the floor.
Well, they were able to pull it off that time. It was Edwards on the assist to Dallas Comegys. 25-22 Georgetown. 7:10 to go in this fast-paced first half. Highsmith. Boy, he plays big, doesn't he? Big, strong, 6'8" junior, and it comes back outside.
Well, I'm amazed how easy it is to get the ball inside that zone. There it is again.
Terry McDonald.
That zone is very soft in the middle.
McDonald coming off a career-high 21 points against Connecticut on Wednesday night.
Edwards a better ball handler than I gave him credit for coming into this ball game.
Billy Meyer couldn't say enough nice things about Edwards. Started this game today. Here's Comegys double pump. Highsmith committing the foul. Ronnie Highsmith with the foul. But it's going to be his third, so he's in some foul difficulty.
Gary, I think he blocked that ball so well that it caught the official off guard. See if we can see it right here. That's all ball. I mean, there's no foul on that play at all.
Well, he's going to have to come out of there because of his third foul. Edwards will replace him. Look at it again.
Here we see, now that's about as good a block as you can make. I mean, he was right on the ball.
2 free throws now for Comegys.
Comegys doing a good job when he pulls out to the corner, giving that pump fake. And that time he got caught.
He's shooting 76% from the free throw line. DePaul is only 3 of 7. They've always had trouble at the free throw line every year. This year is certainly no exception. Georgetown leads it 27-23.
Prepare yourself for the ultimate playground contest, the NBA All-Star Game, February 8th on CBS Sports.
The Capitol Center, Landover, Maryland. Unbeaten DePaul, trailing Georgetown 27-23. Very interesting game thus far, Billy.
Well, it is. Strickland back in the ball game. You're seeing Georgetown getting the shots, Gary. I mean, these are easy shots. The defense not causing them any problems at all. They just weren't hitting some of them.
Charles Smith hitting outside. They had 20 points in the paint before that last time out, showing you how they've gotten it inside.
There's that press.
Here is Strickland bringing it back out. McDonald picking him up. Started out with Georgetown jumping on DePaul. DePaul then taking a 9-7 lead and then outscored 12-3 by Georgetown. And that's where we are now, 29-23, the Hoyas. Comegys. Boy, he had too much on that, it looked like, but it went in anyway. He has 12 points. Comegys averaging 17-6 a game.
A lot of similarities between Williams and Comegys in regard to the way they shoot their jumper. They get up off the ground so quick, and they're so compact with the shot. Very difficult to defend a jumper like that.
Here's Edwards. Rebound by Comegys. Out it comes now to Strickland. Strickland got a breather early in the game, trying to rest him up because of the tenacity of this Georgetown defense.
And I think they also want to let him get a perspective of how that defense looks, particularly on the press.
Comegys, that was a tough catch to make. Couldn't get the shot. Tillman on the move up the floor.
Tillman missed. Charlie Smith hits it anyway. Just couldn't get a handle on that play.
Tillman is so strong. He's 6'2", 190. He's like a tank out there. That time scoring, he has 5 points. 5 minutes to go now, as you see, left in the first half.
Georgetown changes their defense back to straight man-to-man.
They're getting it into Dallas. Boy, he draws a crowd, doesn't he?
Jonathan Edwards not quite quick enough to handle him.
That time, the rebound by McDonald.
You notice how these guys just slice in for the rebounds. These are not big, powerful people. They're just so quick and so strong off their feet. Back to man-to-man. Now let's see. No, they stay in the zone. Matching up a little bit out of it.
Williams left alone in the corner. Tillman inside. There's that strength of Tillman we're talking about.
Another rebound by a guard. Tillman asking to come out. He's a little tired right now. If John Thompson recognizes him.
Biggest lead of the game now for Georgetown, 33-25.
The trap coming. Here comes Smith.
Strickland a reach around. Tillman got away with that one. And Golden trying to keep it alive. It's going to be Georgetown's basketball.
Gary, even though Strickland may be as good with the ball as anybody will see in college basketball, he has to recognize exactly what the defense is doing to him. and he's got to let the game come to him a little bit.
Thus far, as we bring you up to date, DePaul with 8 turnovers. This tenacious defense. Georgetown shooting 44% for the field. As Billy said, getting the good shots inside. It's been Comegys trying to keep DePaul in the game. Reggie Williams at Guillory. He just checked in. Out of Hutchinson Junior College in Kansas, he put that one away.
Joey Meyer wanting a timeout. His players don't recognize it yet. And they just keep on playing. So Joey takes a timeout call off.
6 straight points since that last break in the action now by Georgetown. Guillory putting pressure on Comegys. Nice pass to Golden. Boy, Comegys showing he has very good vision on that play.
He's doing it all.
For a center to move out that far, the top of the circle, and find a guy like he did on the baseline, that says something.
Here they are back to man-to-man defense now.
McDonald backing in. He's got the double team on him, and double dribble. It's going to go to DePaul. So we're going to have a break. 19 to go in this first half. 35-27 the Hoyas.
Gary, here we see them playing a 1-2-2 zone right here. The softness in this zone has been right in the center behind that man, and Georgetown continually attacks there. And if DePaul does not take advantage of going to get a little strength in there, they're going to be attacked all day long.
Billy, thus far, Georgetown with 24 points in that soft point in the paint. And right now with a 35-27 lead. Georgetown has the best bench in the Big East. They're averaging almost 28 points a game and already with 10 in this one.
You know, it's really not fair to call them a bench.
That's right.
Because they're all starters. I mean, they don't have any subs.
What would you call them? The alternates?
Yeah, I get that's alternate starter. That's a pretty good term. I mean, you know, really you think of a traditional substitute, but in this particular case, I mean, John could almost shake them up in a bag and say, hey, the first 5 guys that hit the floor play.
Here's Strickland on the steal and a foul by Charles Smith. Terrence Green hitting that shot a while ago, and looking ahead, this is Super Sunday. Following this game will be the Sixers against Boston, and then Denver against the Giants. All right, Billy, who's going to win this one?
All right, I've really got a theory going, okay? Floyd Little talked about the fact that Denver has more players that played in the Super Bowl than the Giants.
They have 7 of them.
Okay, 7. They say the Giants have 3. So the point spread is 9. So they have an advantage of 4, which means Denver's going to lose by 5 points.
We're going to have to put that on the screen here. I don't think they can follow all that. That's very scientific.
That's my thrust into football right there.
I tell you what, if you're right, they're going to come looking.
That's right. I can take Jimmy off the air.
The Greek is nervous. Strickland not able to hit that second free throw, but it's a 5-point game now. Georgetown, 2:38 to go in this first half.
Straight man-to-man, so the softness that we talked about in the zone will not be exposed here. But what might be is Edwards trying to keep up with Reggie Williams.
You wonder if you can play this team, man, as quick as they are.
Well, they're trying to swing the ball over for Reggie Williams posting up against Edwards.
Smith on the move, changed his shot because of Comegys. Highsmith will put it in. Check that, Jonathan Edwards. And he did that with authority.
You know, nobody's shy in this Georgetown team either. They'll all take the ball to the hoop and look to score. As a matter of fact, Perry McDonald is never shy. Here we're back to the 1-3-1 zone, so John really changing defenses.
Here's Edwards. Can't get a shot off to Strickland. A lot of traffic. Kicks it out to Kevin Edwards. Rebound McDonald. McDonald is only 6'4", but he has that leaping ability in coming away with the rebound. He's averaging 6 a game.
Now, although Edwards didn't hit that shot, Strickland shows how good he is at penetrating and kicking the ball back out, which is really valuable, particularly with the 3-point play opportunities.
Well, he set a freshman record to DePaul for assists. Here is Reggie Williams. There again is McDonald.
The slashing rebounder.
And Smith can't track that one down. It'll be DePaul's basketball. Coming up at halftime, the Super Bowl lotteries. Irv Cross reporting from the Giants Hotel, and Will McDonough will report on the Denver Broncos situation as the teams will be leaving and headed to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. .1:15 left to go in this first half. 7-point lead for Georgetown. DePaul, the only unbeaten team in college basketball after Iowa and Clemson lost yesterday. Shot missing by Green. Green, he plays as well as his shooting game goes. If he starts hitting the shots, his whole game is lifted. He hit one, he missed the last one.
And his role is defined to be a scorer, playing that small forward, so he's got to score for him to win a game like this. Georgetown bringing it back out, going a little four corners here. DePaul would be smart, I think, just to stay back in there and not get caught for an easy basket. They're down 7 at the time. You don't want to go ahead down anymore. We've got
15
Edwards.
seconds on the shot clock.
He's way out here on Williams. It won't take much to go by him.
Edwards, that's a tough assignment, Billy. Tried to stay with Reggie Williams. In the corner, Smith's shot won't drop. Rebound by Reggie Williams, and I hear the shot clock went off.
Inadvertent.
Yeah, the shot clock.
We're going to be used again, Gary. Now, that was an inadvertent clock.
Because it did hit the rim.
Now, they're going to have to go back and use the monitor that CBS has provided for the officials away from our table, as opposed to last week. Isn't this amazing?
It is.
You know, it's never going to happen again. I hope Brent's watching this one.
But you know, Billy, it doesn't even have to hit the rim in college. It just has to get away from the player's hands.
Shot.
As an end result, it was easily off before the shot clock expired.
Well,
now, what are they going to do about it, though?
Well, they're coming back over here. I would assume.
I don't think they're going to use a replay.
I don't know if they realized that an amount of time that went off.
Now, wait a minute. They're going to make a substitution. Jefferson coming in for Williams. They're going to continue on. What we have is 17 seconds left in the first half.
And Gary, when an inadvertent whistle like that goes off, unless the official stops the game continues. You can't be stopping just because you hear a whistle.
Here's Rod Strickland.
Is that McDonald? No, Tillman on that one.
Jefferson, breakaway to Smith.
It goes at the horn.
Yep, it counts. Georgetown finishes with their biggest lead of the first half, an 11-point lead, as Smith at the buzzer gets this one. Watch it and watch the time in the lower right-hand corner.
He gets it off in plenty of time.
We'll return to the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland after this message and a word from your local station. Capitol Center, Georgetown with their biggest lead of the game, 41-30, another 6-0 spurt. It's been a game of spurts.
Well, it has, and that's the way Georgetown plays, of course. They come at you with the presses, the defensive intensity, and they'll blow a game open for a period of time. So far, I really don't think DePaul's in that bad a shape, Gary. They just have to make the adjustments to this type of game plan. Strickland's capable of doing it.
One thing they have to adjust to is the inside game of Georgetown. They've been very effective in the paint.
Well, they have, and I thought that we saw that right away, that there was a real softness in the middle of the zone when DePaul went to the zone, and Georgetown took good advantage of it.
Well, the bench scoring, this is no surprise. As we said, they don't have a bench. They're all starters.
Yeah, and I really think, in fairness, you've got to say that. Most teams will play a starting 5 and then have certain guys that come in spot situations. Georgetown plays 10 people, with the exception of Reggie Williams. They're all about the same. Comegys
keeping DePaul in the game. Reggie Williams with 9. We're going to go back and see one of Reggie Williams' patent plays, how he gets inside.
Well, he can play at any place on the court. Here he goes up, makes the good catch. Now, he makes the pump fake on Dallas Comegys and comes back with the right hand, keeping the ball protected by his body, and still gets the shot off. He's a great player.
DePaul, I think, coming into this game was a little concerned about losing their poise. They got it back seemingly in the middle of the first half. How do you think they are at halftime?
Well, I believe the key is going to be Strickland. He's got to understand that even when you feel you're open against a team like Georgetown, you're not open. So make the crisp pass or go ahead and pull the ball back out and get in your half-court offense. If he can do that in the second half, they can make a run.
So the second half to come. We'll return to the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland after this message from your local station. Well, we have a chance of having no unbeaten teams after this weekend is over. Yesterday, Iowa and Clemson going down to defeat, and now DePaul find themselves down by 11 points at halftime to the Hoyas of Georgetown. Well, John Thompson, we know about his coaching career, but we're going to go back in time. What about his time as a player at Providence? He was an All-American as a senior. He looks like a young Ralph Dalton, doesn't he? Number 51.
Well, he was a legend as a high school player in the city of Washington, D.C. also.
He went to the NCAAs, the NIT, and of course then he went on to play behind Bill Russell and win 2 World's Championships with the Boston Celtics. Look at that rejection.
Well,
Patrick Ewing learned that from him, right?
That's right. I would imagine you could say that. You know, the guy throwing up the ball was a legend in his own time also. That original tap, that was Charlie Ekman, who's quite a personality in this particular area and one of the great referees of all time. Ought to be a guy they ought to think about for the Hall of Fame. He was a great referee, and you know what he did after his refereeing? Well, in between his refereeing career. He coached the World Championship NBA team. There he is, that guy right there in the middle. That's Charlie Ekman, one of the most colorful guys in the history of basketball.
Only Billy would have spotted that off the side of the tape. That's great. I love it.
Charlie, you know, I'm pushing Charlie for the Hall of Fame. I mean, how many guys refereed to the degree he did and then coached an NBA team? He got fired after he won the championship.
All right, this has been a game of real spurts. Georgetown had a 12-3 run, 2 6-0 runs, and now with 11-point lead at the halfway point as we come in with Bryant and Tillman again at the guards. Perry McDonald, this is Guillory, the center, and of course Reggie Williams, the 5th man. There he is. Reggie, only 3 of 11 from the field in that first half.
That's going to change.
Here is Williams inside left-handed.
That's going to change.
You said that.
He will not be any 3 for 11 in this half. And that was over Dallas Comegys. The press is back on.
When's it ever leave?
You know, it's interesting. Guillory is out for the opening tap, okay, to start the game. Why does he start the second half? There is no tap.
That's a good point.
Explain that to me.
Keeps him involved, though. He's got a place on this team. He's got a role that keeps him involved mentally, as now Strickland able to score. Strickland with 7 points in the game. 43-32 Georgetown. Georgetown's 2 losses this year, coming, believe it or not, to Seton Hall.
That's one of the mystery weeks of college basketball. And then Seton Hall turns right around, loses after 1 game to Connecticut, the other game to BC. 2 teams that have only won a game apiece in the Big East.
Can you believe they shot only 28% against Seton Hall? The Pirates winning the first game, then coming back and doing it again. Here's Bryant bringing it back out.
You know, Gary, in the Big East, talking about balance, 5 teams were voted preseason in the opinions of the polls to come in first place there.
Right now it's Syracuse with a 6-0 lead, and there by Golden, his second, and here comes Highsmith into the game, and Guillory will leave as he has his roll and sits down.
That's right. Now, I know John knows the rules of those jump at the second half. Does this mean that he's superstitious?
Maybe he didn't tell Ben that. Guillory's one of those late developers coming out of the Detroit area and going to Hutchinson Junior College. As we take a look now at McDonald.
You know, John Thompson and I were kidding about Guillory the last time we were going to do a ball game here. He said, could you imagine walking on the playground, you're a high school coach, and this kid is in school but not playing? I mean, you take him and get him out there.
You got to question the coach, huh, in that area.
Well, he is going to be a player. If you watch him in drills, he's got a lot of ability.
You wonder why he wasn't playing in high school. That's unbelievable. Here is Golden bringing it out now to Strickland. There's not a lot of 7-footers. Here,
good Green. There's some of that football player.
Yes, sir. The other end it comes. They convert it in a hurry. Tillman at the other end.
Again, you get back to floor balance, Gary. You have a tendency to want to attack against Georgetown, but you've got to have people back because they're going to go the length of the court.
There's Green trying to split it, and they're going to call a charge on Terrence Green. I was just getting ready to say they're giving Green some more responsibility against the pressure, and then he is called with a charge.
Well, the reason they want to do this is they want to have Strickland up here at the half-court area. That gives him an opportunity to catch the first pass and make a move.
That's his 3rd foul. See, the turnover's 9, and there's a turnover against Georgetown. Strickland on the move. Tillman back spin move. Nice play. Use the left hand, too. Reggie Williams. Green is in there, but Comegys tips it away. And now DePaul, trailing 45-36.
See how good Strickland is with that ball. Put it right back through his legs, so he had it on the other side of his body.
Green again. Highsmith brings down the rebound. Bryant will back it out.
There's the man-to-man. DePaul adjusting. Green's a little tired right now.
Such a young Georgetown team, Billy. Only 1 senior playing 2 freshmen in the backcourt. Youngest team John Thompson's ever had. That was a 2-point attempt. Look at Golden fight for it. And it's going to be Georgetown's basketball. Good effort, though, by Kevin Golden.
Now, Golden looks like he has gotten quite a bit thinner from the first time I saw him at DePaul. He was a football player also in high school.
He played in only 16 games in the first 2 years. Andy Laux, number 14, you see him, is now checked into the ball game out in front picking up Bryant.
Yeah, I think the reason for that is that he could sense that Green had gotten tired.
They were up and down the floor a few times. I saw Comegys look a little tired there for a moment, but they can't afford to get him out of there.
Well, sometimes when you come out right after halftime, it takes a while to get that second wind. Oh, good pass. Boy, that was a good pass by Tillman. Stuart Highsmith. I always call him Stuart Highsmith. I've got a lapse there. Ronnie Highsmith just wasn't ready for it.
So DePaul with the ball. Here's Edwards now, bringing it up against the pressure. Up to Laux.
Strickland wanted that ball. He was in good position to make a dish.
Joey Meyer now up directing the offense from the sideline. Joey says he's much more relaxed this year. Really have enjoyed this season. You would, though, if you're 16 low. And there's a guy, Laux, who can really help him. He was so intimidated last year. Even the home crowd was on him. This year is shooting the ball so effectively.
I like that set that DePaul ran that time to free up their 2 shooters. Nice offensive play.
That's the first points they've gotten from their bench in this game, Billy. And all 5 starters up to this point for the Blue Demons. 7-point lead for the Hoyas. Here's Williams. Oh, is that pretty? That's a 2-pointer. 13 points for the preseason consensus All-American. Edwards got to get that ball up. You dribble it too long and they got you in trouble, and he's finding that out. Strickland.
There's Georgetown back in their 1-3-1 zone. Highsmith patrolling the center. You watch how much more active he is in the center of the Georgetown zone than DePaul had in their zone.
Golden. He doesn't take very many shots like that. That's not his role, right?
No, that's not a good one for him.
Here's Tillman. He'll bring it back out to Williams. Kind of nice to be able to go to Reggie Williams when you're a freshman and look around, huh?
But does he seem relaxed on the court? I mean, he gives great effort, but he always seems under such great control.
Always moving off the ball, though. Look at this. Shakes Edwards.
And that's 2 for 3 here in the second half. We said he wouldn't be any. What was he, 3 for 11, did you say?
3 for 11 in the first half.
That's what scares you when you're an opposing coach and you see a player of his magnitude have a bad first half because you know he's coming back.
And you're trailing by 11.
That's right. It's kind of like, you know, you're playing against a Larry Bird and he has a slow first half. It's a matter of time.
Comegys, Highsmith got a hand on it.
Not to make the comparison saying Reggie Williams is Larry Bird, but it's all relative.
Well, you talk about the draft coming up. I suppose David Robinson, Reggie Williams, those will be the guys we'll be talking about being the #1 pick. Williams can play that guard spot at 6'7", which helps him a lot.
Well, I'll tell you a guy that won't be #1, but who yesterday again impressed the world, and a guy that hasn't had that much exposure is Dennis Hobson at Ohio State.
36 points.
Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to see him. He was sick in the Indiana game, which we had on earlier, but I'm really impressed with his abilities.
Comegys gets a roll, cuts it to 10 now, 49-39, 13 points for Dallas. Out of Roman Catholic High School in Philadelphia. He was the most sought-after player out of Philadelphia that year since Gene Banks, who of course played at Duke. So Joey Meyer's team now has climbed within 9 points, 14:45 to go.
Okay, Gary, here's why DePaul likes to have Strickland on the end. Now, he had received a pass from Golden. Now you find Strickland in the center with men filling the lane. Strickland, in this particular case, is going to take the ball and wheel to go into the basket. But that's why DePaul wants him to be on the receiving end so that he can lead the break as opposed to be the guy that makes the initial pass. Good move by Joey Meyer, and it's nice if you can free up your best ball handler to be the receiver at midcourt as opposed to having to make that entry pass.
Gives him a chance to be creative, doesn't it?
Exactly. Now the problem is, can you get the ball past the first wave of the defense to get it to him?
On the floor in a hurry. Perry McDonald. They made that look easy, didn't they?
Well, I don't think Comegys realized, and this may sound crazy, but that McDonald's a left-hander.
McDonald now with 9 points in the game. 51-40, 11-point lead now for Georgetown. Comegys baseline, and he traveled. Near the conclusion of today's game, Billy Packer and I will be selecting a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team, and Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school. Turnovers 10 now against DePaul.
A lot of time to go in this ball game, so no time for DePaul to panic here, even though they hadn't been able to move into that lead.
It's been such a game of spurts. Georgetown has put some distance between them, and the Blue Demons only see the ball scrap back in it.
You see how Georgetown just has fellas move on into the post area with all that quickness.
Golden may have gotten away with something there. McDonald, a little dog pile, and the alternating hell ball, it's going to go to DePaul.
That's a great job by Green. So powerful, he dove right into the pack. Again, we go back to that football heritage of his. Was able to come up with a loose ball.
Well, Golden and Green were both football players. You know, Golden was a defensive end, and on the other hand, Green, he was playing some defensive back. He had an offer from Michigan State, full scholarship in football. Some of that toughness that DePaul has.
Man-to-man now. No, they're not playing the man-to-man. They changed up their defense a little bit. A little triangle and two.
Green intended for Comegys. There's Williams helping out defensively.
Hey, if John Thompson changes those defenses up, you really have to be aware of it.
Not to mention his personnel.
That's right. He had 3 fellas playing zone, 2 playing man-to-man on that occasion.
Here's Golden, baseline Green. Nice pass out to Comegys. He tried to reverse it, and he's fouled, showing his ability to change in midair. Great body control that time by Dallas Comegys. Foul on Edwards, his first. Billy, look at this. This shows you the tradition of DePaul. 79%.
And well, they started out the season at the number 5 spot, so you can see with their undefeated run this year, they've moved up to number 3. You know, this weekend on CBS, we had 4 of the top 10 teams on there. St. John's, of course, also in that list, as is Syracuse.
Well, this guy, along with his dad, Ray Meyer, counted for most of that.
Yeah, I think it was kind of interesting and nice compliment by Joey to his dad. That seems to have gone by the boards now with Joey worrying about that situation and all, but said, yeah, Dad was responsible for about, 742 of them, not bad.
You know how many between the two? 777 of their 1,000 wins that they posted earlier this year in a game where they beat Loyola.
Now, that was a tough test, too, to go at Loyola because it's been a traditional rivalry for so long.
Double team on Williams. He gets rid of it to McDonald. Comegys blocked it.
He knows the left hand now.
Yes, he does. McDonald at 6'4" challenged him. Nice pass to Edwards. That was a nice give and go from Green to Edwards.
Beautifully executed. It all started with Dallas Comegys being the man inside defensively.
All of a sudden, you see a little spurt now by the Blue Demons. 51-44, and John Thompson wants a timeout. La Jolla's got the timeout. 12:53 to go.
Join us at Pebble Beach where the pros are stars. And
Jerry, this is really a fundamental move by DePaul. The players keep their lanes on the outside. You see a man filling the 3rd lane. You want to occupy the man in the middle. A pass had been made across court, and they freeze the defensive player so that Green can give the ball back over here to Edwards for the layup. Super execution of a 2-on-1 fast break, and you see the end of it right here. Back to Edwards. The defense was frozen. Real good fundamental basketball by DePaul.
Billy, you see him work on that in practice all the time, but you don't see it that effective usually in a game.
Well, sometimes fellas won't retain their lane position. Sometimes guys are too selfish to give the ball back and forth, but in that case, DePaul showed you how to execute it properly.
And as an end result, they've cut it to 7. Little pressure outside now. Strickland and Edwards, the guards. Comegys, Golden, and Green. That's the 5 that opened the game for Joey Meyer.
Now they're back to that 2-3 zone. Look for Georgetown to go in the middle. There it is.
Winston into McDonald. Air ball. Reggie Williams. We have a jump ball, and it will go to Georgetown. Hell ball. Alternating possession to the Hoyas.
If I were Georgetown, I'd hope that DePaul stays in the 2-3 zone because that's the defense that they can attack best.
They had all those points in the paint in the first half. There's Jaron Jackson. Comegys with another block. McDonald reloads it.
Comegys doing a job in there.
He tried to save it off of a Georgetown player, and Golden now commits a foul. He tried to save it off of the person of a Georgetown player. It didn't come off that way, and Golden picks up the personal foul.
What happens to Dallas Comegys here, too, is all his teammates leave him. Now, Golden has nothing he can do other than go up and, in effect, save 2 points.
That's right, not letting him shoot it. That's his 3rd foul. And inside, followed. Nice play that time by Highsmith. The Army veteran with some authority there, and there's going to be a foul on Jaron Jackson, reaching over to Rod Strickland. Coming up next, always an outstanding confrontation from the Boston Garden. The 76ers and the Celtics. The Celtics giving K.C. Jones a right to coach the Eastern Conference team in the All-Star game as they posted the best record in the East as they come to that All-Star break. Seattle, February 8th. That game will be here on CBS.
Here the Hoyas changing their defense again. Looks like they'd like the trap out of this defense. Highsmith really active in the middle.
Boy, how did he spot Green in there? Green is fouled. That's quite a pass. I don't say he could see him on the baseline.
So Edwards showing a lot of ability other than just being a pure scorer. You know, we heard about him as being the second guard type that looks for the jumper, but he's made some fine plays today.
The foul on Jackson is second. That's a fourth team foul against Georgetown. Strickland, three-pointer. That is a three-pointer by Rod Strickland, and all of a sudden now 53-47. And down at the other end, Jackson foul. It's almost like, Billy, you get satisfied you made a good offensive play and they get you at the other end.
They do strike. But, you know, when you start talking about having a 6-point lead and the other team gradually pulling back, I don't know if that's a wise pass. You know, that had to be right on the money to be successful.
Golden comes out. That was his fourth foul. Coming in is Stanley Brundy, number 23, a 6'6" sophomore out of that high school again, Crenshaw in L.A. We had a player yesterday from there, Stevie Thompson, for Syracuse. And, of course, that's where Marcus Johnson, John Williams, and Darryl Strawberry came from. Jackson missing. Jackson shooting 82%, too. He's a good free throw shooter.
This game getting a little tighter, and you really have to like DePaul's patience in this game. It's kind of like St. John's yesterday. Even though they were in a position to be blown out of a ball game, they just stayed with their game plan and keep coming back.
Georgetown hitting 50% from the line, 5 of 10. Green doing some of the ball handling now. It's a pretty good swing man to have, and go inside and come out for you, too.
Well, Green was strictly a guard last year. So you have Edwards, Green, and Strickland all can help you get that ball up the court. Kamaji's so active.
He loads it up for Edwards. Nice touch. He's got great rotation on the ball. You get the feeling every one of them's going in when he puts them up.
Look for Reggie Williams to get the ball in his hands right now. He hadn't touched it for a long time.
Georgetown by 5. Jackson trying to take Green inside, out to Winston. Winston, 6'5", can look inside very effectively from that point guard position.
They need to be finding Reggie Williams.
Trying to stay with him right now. On the far side is Edwards.
Right, he wants him to swing the ball over to him.
Ball on a 9-3 run, and they've got the ball again. Kamaji's to Strickland, heads up pass. And Strickland now has cut this game very uncomfortably for Georgetown. They have a 3-point lead.
I really think they could be looking for a timeout, maybe waiting for a TV timeout, but they need to see Reggie Williams in the action offensively.
It's interesting how times you go away from your main man. You know what? Here he's got it, but he's not going to get a shot off this time.
He's patient.
The closest they've been since it was 25-22 in the first half, and there's going to be a foul on Edwards.
It didn't take a genius to figure that out because John Thompson got off that bench, probably going to reintroduce everybody to number 34.
Yeah, you don't go away from him very long and still stay in the game, right? Here comes Tillman back in. Edwards committing the foul, his first. 15 foul now against DePaul.
Well, the thing about Williams, Gary, is not only his scoring ability. Oh, that's just a mistake on the part of Green. He had his back turned, playing zone out of bounds.
That's where McDonald's really effective, though, isn't he, Billy? Yep. Right inside, a 2-3-footer. A slasher.
Yep.
5-point lead for Georgetown. Kamaji's high archer. Grundy tried to get the rebound. Instead, Mr. Williams is there.
Reggie way outside. He's wanting to post Edwards up inside.
Well, he's got about 5 inches on him. Rebound, Grundy. That's what he does so well. Grundy's an excellent rebounder. He's led him in rebounding in 7 different games this year.
I really like the poise of DePaul. This is a lot different DePaul club than we've seen the past couple of years, which was kind of unsure of themselves.
Remember 2 years ago?
Yep. This seems to be like Joey's first real team. Even though he took a club to the NCAA tournament last year, you sense that this ball club is his team.
Strickland was 16. The only guys left from that Ray Meyer era is Kamaji's. 3-point lead now for Georgetown. Baseline, and he gets a roll, Tillman.
But you sense Georgetown struggling a little bit. You know, everything seems to be kind of a one-on-one move when they do score.
I get the feeling DePaul has not extended themselves physically that much. They've been able to distribute the handling of the pressure. to the Greens, the Stricklands, and the Edwards. There's one taken away, and look who got it. Comegys to Green.
Oh, Dallas Comegys is doing everything right. Making the blocks on defense. That was an excellent pass on his part. He could have tried to put up a bad shot.
Long arms paid off. 8 points in the game for Terrence Green, and this DePaul team, who was down by 11 at halftime, has come back in this one with a 15-7 run here in the second half. McDonald and blocked again. You just can't shoot that around Comegys in that area.
I'm surprised he's not pump faking and dropping off a little pass inside. There's a great feed.
Strickland to Grundy. That block a while ago was Comegys' 6th to the game, and John Thompson's got to be concerned. His lead has been cut to 1.
No, he's not going to wait for a TV timeout here.
And so we'll return to the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland after this message and a word from your local station. DePaul back in. Let's check yesterday's game from Clemson.
Gary, I want to point out something to the fans here. You notice Amaker takes a three-point shot. The ball goes up above the rim. Now, if you went up there and got that ball, okay, and batted it away, the game wouldn't have gone into overtime, but what would have happened?
Offensive interference.
And what? How many points?
Oh, yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Now, what it is here, if you shoot a three-point play, just so the fans can understand this, the ball goes up here. The ball is above the rim. It'd be basket interference.
Right.
But just as in the case when you award 2 for a 2-point, you award 3 for a 3-point, so they still would have got 3. So there'd be no advantage of slapping away a 3-point.
I'll tell you what, he got all the roll on that one, though, did he? And the bounce.
But, I was going to say something. You said it. He buried it.
Last 7 minutes, a 17-7 run by DePaul. They're shooting 77% from the field in the second half. Georgetown, 47%.
Ooh, a funny shot to take in that
Yes, it is, with a
situation.
1-point lead. That's not what you want after you call a timeout, right?
No, that's not the play they want at all. They want to go inside against the zone, I'm sure.
DePaul with a chance to take the lead. Their last lead was 9-7 in the first half. There's Strickland, beautiful pass, Grundy, basket will count and he's fouled. Grundy inside has received 2 excellent baseline feeds.
Well, I love the patience of DePaul. They made a run the start of the second half. They're down 11. They make a run, and all of a sudden they look up the clock, and after about 6 minutes, they're still at 11. But they stayed patient.
That foul is on Highsmith. That's his 4th.
A lot of credit to Strickland to understand what he's got to do in this second half. He hasn't forced it at all.
Billy, we said this is the most critical test DePaul has had. Thus far, they've really shown they've been worthy of the ranking that they had, 6th and unbeaten.
Yeah, to me, the question is now over. Whether they win or lose this game, the question over. This is a solid, legitimate team that's going to make a run at the national championship.
Boy, I agree with you.
Of course, that includes probably about 25 or 30 other teams, but they're a legitimate, solid basketball team.
Smith doesn't get the roll. DePaul by 2, their first lead since 9-7 of the first half, trying to add to it. Comegys to Green, and they get it, and that is something to watch.
There are not many guys around who can make a catch like Comegys did and then dish it off. 6'9", caught it on the run.
The only unbeaten team in the country, DePaul, and playing extremely well. They now have scored 9 unanswered points. Williams, three-pointer.
Down. Another bad shot. Nobody back on defense.
And we're going to have a foul. Looks like Grundy picked it up. It might have been Comegys. It's going to be Grundy, his first.
Jerry, watch this catch by Dallas Comegys. It was down at his ankles. Watch this, and then just catches and dishes off without walking. Super play.
16 foul now against DePaul. You wonder why all of a sudden Dallas decides, hey, I'm going to realize all my potential.
Well, some people say he had an awful lot of physical problems. Ray thought most of those were above his ears in the early years, but he is doing it now.
Smith
Again,
forced it
block.
again.
He'll get this one. He'll get that one.
That's going to be traveling. A traveling call. 4-point lead now for DePaul. 6:15 to go. There's Ray Meyer.
He's got to be happy with this performance.
The grand gentleman. Ray coached for 42 years, 724 wins for DePaul.
Member of the Basketball Hall of Fame.
They couldn't have a Hall of Fame without him,
That's
could
right.
they?
And only 5 men in the history of the game ever won 700.
Boy, Grundy was open on the baseline. They didn't get it to him.
That's all right. The patience that they're showing here has taken away all that aggressive defense that Georgetown had in the first half. That's a hand check.
Look at Smith stay with him. Reminds me of Gene Smith, who used to play. He's got to commit the foul there. Well, Super Sunday. We have an NBA game, and then the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Really? They've been so analyzed. Now, you came up with your prediction. I still think the Giants are going to win it. I think their defense, their front seven's too tough.
Well, that's coming from a pro. Mine was research. I did some serious research. You just made a statement.
Well, you made one of those statistical surveys I've got to look at again. There's another foul. DePaul this half, Billy, is shooting 80%. The reason is they're getting away on the break, getting those good percentage shots. That foul is going to go on Smith. That's his third.
The reason also is they have been able to use this man on that foul line, Dallas Comegys, as a stopper inside defensively and catch Georgetown with bad defensive balance.
Boy, he gets the high arc on that. Look, and the fist shaking after he hit it. That's not the Dallas we used to see. Playing with enthusiasm and emotion. Looks like he's having fun.
Well, you know, this is not fun of Dallas Comegys because, Gary, we were there and we watched Ray when he was a freshman say, Dallas, just go down the other end. Stay out of our way at practice. You're disrupting everything we're trying to do. And Dallas was kind of happy with that. He just went down the other end, shot around. I thought he was a malcontent. And the next day he came out, as I said, was the MVP of the game. But he is now the leader of this ball club in every sense of the word.
6-point lead now for the Blue Demons after trailing by 11 at half.
Now Georgetown finds themselves in a situation where they've gotten away completely from their offensive game. They create nothing defensively. They're trying to go inside on Comegys and keeping the ball out of Williams' hand. I think for the next few times down the floor, they've got to let Reggie Williams make the play.
Dallas committing that foul. They try to go into McDonald. McDonald just can't get that shot on the way. Now they're going to say Strickland reached in. It's Strickland committing his second. But every time McDonald goes in there, he has little chance to get that thing underway because of Dallas.
And you know, the other thing that they can think about, Gary, is getting the ball inside to those slashing players like McDonald and not try to score from in there, but distribute the ball back underneath when Comegys comes out for the block.
That's Bryant, who's checked back into the game. McDonald not able to get the free throw. You know, McDonald, remember, he hit those 6 straight free throws to beat Arizona early in the year. Very pressure-packed free throws. But now Georgetown is 5 of 11 from the line. They've always had problems with free throws. That's not a good-looking shot either. And it's going to be Georgetown's basketball. That's a break for John Thompson after missing those two. An 11-0 run now by DePaul. Edwards might have had the shot. Kicks it out to Williams, three-pointer.
There's Williams again. He's got to be their man.
18 points for Reggie. 61-54.
I would like to have known while DePaul was making the comeback how many times Reggie actually touched the ball during that 6-8-minute stretch, because it seemed like he never had it.
Here's Edwards. 3-point lead for the Blue Demons, and he adds to it. Edwards strokes it so well. He is big league when it comes to shooting outside. That's what DePaul missed so much in the years past. Remember the Jacksons and the people trying to hit from outside? It just wouldn't go for him. 13 points now for Edwards. Williams again, a three-pointer. And Edwards comes out of there.
Grundy got a piece of Reggie Williams' arm on that one.
Grundy's played well, hasn't he? Got 2 big baskets inside.
Again, he understands his role. A sign of good coaching by Joey Meyer.
He's about 7 deep. He'll bring Grundy and Locks off the bench. Doesn't go much deeper than that. And they've held up well.
Does it seem like Georgetown's lost their legs a little bit too? They don't seem defensively very quick.
You don't have that intimidation look that they usually have, Billy. Here's Strickland taking Tillman inside.
They're playing well.
Oh, get the feeling they've found out they can play with anybody. They're leading by 7. This was a test. They had big wins at Dayton, at Louisville. They defeated Notre Dame, but people question their 6th ranking, but no more.
Well, about the only thing John can do to attack this defense, he has to try to put Reggie Williams in the middle. Now there's McDonald. You see what happened? He realizes Comegys behind him now, and he's a little unsure of himself making that play.
3:45 to go. DePaul leads it by 7, playing effectively. Immediately following this, we go to historic Boston Garden. The Sixers against the Boston Celtics. Charles Barkley leading the NBA in rebounding. He was hurt early in the year. He's come back strong. And then Kevin McHale having his finest year ever for the Boston Celtics. That's coming up immediately following our game here for the Boston Garden. The Sixers and Celtics. Well, Joey Meyer has really turned things around. Remember a year ago, there's some people saying, hey, this guy might not get the job done.
Well, Gary, I was reviewing, we used to have the CBS coaches poll, and 2 years ago, almost at this time, some of the key disappointments in college basketball were asked of our college coaches, and they said Joey Meyer and Dallas Comedy. Okay, and Indiana can't seem to win a game at home. How things have changed in 2 years.
Have they ever? DePaul this half shooting 82%. They've made 7 field goals in a row, and they've run off 15 points to Georgetown's 3 in the last 5 minutes. That's impressive.
They're in the man-to-man. That's close to 5 seconds.
3:28 left in the game.
Look at Strickland, how cool he is right now. He's just running the show.
Out of the Bronx, he's got that streetwise sense, not losing his poise at all. And he hasn't tried to do as much in the second half. I thought he was out of control in the first half, didn't you? There's a foul.
He's changed the game around completely. Another hand check. He's so good with the ball, it's very difficult to take it away from him.
Here's Joey Meyer's record. They struggled last year, had a miserable February. They were 3-6 and then got down into the Eastern Regionals, eventually losing to Duke.
Well, can you remember the game that probably put them in the NCAA tournament was the big win against St. John's? Came out of the middle of nowhere.
Down the stretch, beating the likes of Marquette. Remember that?
That last game of the season probably put them in. They were 16-12. If they lost that one, it would have been pretty hard for them even to get in the tournament.
Big miss on the free throw. 7-point lead now for Georgetown. McDonald continues to try to go inside, and it's just not going for him.
He altered the shot, realizing Comegys was there. John Thompson asking his team to pull the defense out further. But with 3 good ball handlers like DePaul has right now, it'd be very difficult to take it away from them.
Trying to reach around to the steal is Bryant. We talked about how this has been a stumbling block for Georgetown. In 84-85, they were ranked 1. Georgetown 2nd. The Hoyas blew them away. Last year in the Rosemont Horizon, Reggie Williams with 30 points. They beat him. And I think a lot of people thought it would be 3 in a row, but right now DePaul is not letting that happen. 7-point lead, 2:44 to go, a 1-1 now for Kevin Edwards.
And you know the fans in Chicago are really supporting this club. They just broke the Rosemont Horizon record again with that game against Notre Dame. Over 17,000 fans. New record for him.
Edwards hits them both. He's a 76% free throw shooter. 70-61. This crowd here in the Capitol Center a little bit stunned.
Trying to do it all with freshmen. Well, last year, DePaul had their first freshman starting backcourt. Today, Georgetown started 2 freshmen in the backcourt.
That was the freshman Tillman with a basket. Edwards, he's fouled by Reggie Williams.
I wouldn't want to try to catch this DePaul team with the great ball handling they have back there because Green can handle it. Edwards obviously can handle the ball, and Strickland's a super ball handler.
Billy, let's look ahead next week. A doubleheader. Iowa losing their first game, going against Michigan. Michigan's a team that handed Syracuse their only setback thus far. That was in Ann Arbor. And that's game 1 and game 2, the doubleheader. We'll see the Orangemen. So impressive yesterday against Georgetown. You talk about fast tempo in a game. Yeah, they'll be up and down the floor, won't they?
They will, and that one, of course, we'll get a chance to see Gary Grant. We've seen so many outstanding guards this year, and he certainly ranks right up there with them among the best.
There's Tillman again. He's hit a 3-pointer. Tillman bringing this Georgetown team back.
Now they're 1 possession away from tying it up, and the crowd gets back into the game.
That's what that 3-point play can do for you.
See if Strickland stays under control. Look for Comegys to touch it this time down the floor.
3-point lead, steal attempt by Bryant. The 2 freshmen in the backcourt kind of spearheading this comeback now by Georgetown. Timeout is called by DePaul. Joey Meyer doesn't like how this is developing. 2 minutes, 2 seconds to go. The Capitol Center in Landover. Gary Bender along with Billy Packer. 2 minutes, 2 seconds to go. DePaul with a 3-point lead. And Billy, Georgetown's come out fouling, and DePaul in the last 3 trips up the floor have missed the front 2 of 1-and-1s. And they would hit 9 straight free throws before that. The possession arrow going to DePaul. As far as the timeouts are concerned in this game, we have 3 for DePaul and 2 for Georgetown.
Look for Dallas Comegys to get at least a touch before somebody else puts up a shot here. Unless there's a foul, you want him to get a chance to do something offensively. Playing a double stack.
Jefferson is in the game, number 50 now, the 6'9 freshman. He's guarding Comegys.
Clear out for Strickland.
8 seconds on the shot clock. 7. Comegys with 5, and he doesn't get it. He's fouled by Jefferson.
Set offensive pattern. Good step out by Comegys.
DePaul shooting 60%, 82 at one stage of the second half. 8 blocks. Comegys intimidating the inside game. Georgetown 34 rebounds. The bench of Georgetown doing such a good job. And Dallas Comegys, the leader for Joey Meyer's team, and this is senior year with 18 points. And at the line now. 2 free throws. And he nails that one dead center. 71-67. Comegys has scored 7 points building the second half, and all of them from the free throw line. He does not get that one. A 4-point game, a minute and a half to go.
Off Bryant's foot.
It's off of Edwards. It went off of Edwards, yep. Bryant dribbling the ball. Went off the foot of Kevin Edwards, so Georgetown will get it.
Gary was kind of lucky there because he had no business in that pack.
That's right.
Ball staying in their 2-3 zone.
Georgetown has 3 field goals in the last 7 minutes, and all of them have been 3-pointers. Drive, Tillman.
Oh, what a play.
He's made 3 big baskets down the stretch.
Gary, you pointed out, just a freshman. A lot of guts to go in there, particularly realizing Comegys isn't waiting on him.
19 points. He was the Big East Freshman of the Week one time this year. Here's the steal attempt. McDonald, the held ball. It will go to DePaul. So the Blue Demons will get it. 59 seconds to go.
Wise play by Perry McDonald just to make sure he got a hand on it.
And we're going to have a timeout called. It's going to be called by DePaul. Joey Meyer with a 2-point lead. 59 seconds to go. 71-69 DePaul. Both teams now with 2 timeouts remaining. Philly literally in the second half. DePaul has been winning this game at the free throw line. They're 10 of 13 from the line. Georgetown 1 of 6.
What's interesting is they slowed the pace down. Strickland has utilized his ball handling ability very well, not tried to force things in the second half, put the pressure back on Georgetown.
Now Laux checks into the DePaul lineup. He along with Edwards, Strickland, Comegys, and Green can get some ball handlers in.
And ball handlers and 4 shooters. So almost any pass that's made is going to be made to a guy that can put up a good shot.
Boy, Strickland averted some problems there, didn't he? Reggie Williams is going for the steal, and he got away from him. There's a foul on Tillman.
John Thompson wanted the foul early. Now he's thinking 3-point play, too.
Yep. Well, he's also realizing that down the stretch, DePaul has missed the front end of 2 1-and-1s, and
what else is he realizing? Who's he putting on the foul line? A man that came into the game 38 for 77, only 49% from the foul line.
Well, Joey says it's a matter of concentration. Let's see if he can get it here. 3 of 7 today, and he doesn't get it.
It's amazing. Boy, to have that point guard that can't make free throws is a killer.
You see the time left. Georgetown down by 2.
They can't be thinking 3 here. They got to try to just go for the tie at home. Trying to get it to Reggie Williams. Edwards on him. Williams getting buried.
Edwards almost pulled it off. It'll still be Georgetown's basketball. 30 seconds. 22 on the shot clock. Timeout, Georgetown. They'll have 1 remaining. So John Thompson going to reconstruct something here to try at least tie this game up.
Well, Gary, so many factors right here. You know, you have to give the ball back to DePaul. I mean, the 45-second shot clock's going to go off, so you've got to give the ball back. I think the key is where the arrow is pointing. That's a big advantage for Georgetown because they get the next held ball situation. Timeouts, they're both in decent shape.
1 timeout for Georgetown, 2 for DePaul.
Right, decent shape there. And you saw DePaul went with their offensive club when they had the ball. Now, are they going to come back with a defensive team? Because that's the key for them.
Well, DePaul, after being so effective to the line now, has missed 3 fronts of 1-and-1s down the stretch. Coming up next, Philadelphia against Boston from the Boston Garden.
The other thing to consider when you're sitting over that Georgetown bench is what kind of defensive look are we going to get here? On the last possession, DePaul was playing man-to-man with a good overplay. Edwards doing a nice job on Reggie Williams. Are they going to come back with the zone, force the outside shot, or will they stay in the man-to-man?
Well, the guy that's really carried him lately is Tillman, but you'd figure they'd look for Reggie Williams somewhere.
No, he's had a hard time getting his hands on the ball. He's been buried down in behind in the offensive set. John Thompson is almost like a revolving wheel over at his bench, sending in players to report. Jaron Jackson just got up off the bench. So there's no way Joey's going to know who to match up with. Matter of fact, he might ask for a matchup.
Well, he's got those 2 timeouts. You see something he doesn't like?
Well, if they put in that many players, you can always ask the referee to give you a matchup defensively.
Well, let's see. Winston's coming in now. Number 4, Bobby Winston. Jaron Jackson's in there. Also, Charles Smith. They're getting the ball handlers in there.
Yep. McDonald's still in there.
Yep, and of course Reggie. Here we go. 30 seconds. Georgetown down by 2. Shot clock.
Oh, what a tough shot.
He made it. 3-pointer. Reggie.
Get a time right here. Get a time. Good move. Money player. That was a tough shot. He was shooting against his body from the corner. Saw Steve Alford make a great one that way. Now watch him come off the screen, turn against his body, and still square up for the jumper.
And
just
John's
the way I play it.
Right? Called it all the way, right? That was a tough shot, Billy. You said it well.
The great shooters are able to come off, and if we could show that play one more time, watch for the young players how a guy will get his right foot in this situation squared back up to the basket. Very difficult fundamental thing to work on.
Here it is.
Let's
Look
see if we can catch it. Now watch his right foot. Okay, now watch the right foot of Reggie Williams when he's going to catch this ball, because you've got to get your body turned around. Now Reggie's going to come around, and we're going to get his right foot right here. Roll the play. Now watch his right foot turn around. See that right foot right there? Turns around and gets him squared back up the basket. If he doesn't turn that foot, his whole body's working against him. You see it from another angle. And for the young people in the audience, watch how he catches the ball and gets his right foot turned back around. Here it is, turned right back around. Nice play.
Pretty good pick that time on Comegys. He tried to come around. You know, the last 4 field goals that Georgetown's hit, 3 of them have been 3-pointers.
Now here you have a situation, if you're Joey Marr, where you have one great thing going for you, and that's Strickland can create some kind of a play. Now he's being guarded by Tillman, but look for Strickland to get the ball and try to make a play. That's a walk.
Timeout, and he can't. Grundy walked with it. You can't move on that.
Yep, you cannot move on the sideline. Still plenty of time. 20 seconds to go.
Now we're going to make a substitution. John Thompson wants to get Jaron Jackson in. He can't get the attention of the scorer's table, and we're going to have a timeout.
Boy, he used his last timeout there.
You think that was wise?
I think that helps DePaul.
So Georgetown is out of timeouts with 20 seconds to go. But Billy, again, you just can't move in this situation.
That's right. When you're on the sidelines in this situation, it's the same as if you're on the court. The only time you can run when you have the ball out of bounds is on the end line after a score. You cannot run otherwise. And that was a big mistake.
You know, most kids don't know that you can run the baseline after a made basket.
That's right. After
but most of them always know that you have to stand perfectly still. Grundy, in the excitement of the moment, big turnover. And now Georgetown protecting the 1-point lead, using their last timeout. DePaul still has 1 timeout left.
45-second shot clock, no longer a factor. You've got that arrow pointing in Georgetown's favor. It's amazing this swing. But Gary, I want to point out something that I said before DePaul ever got in the lead. To me, I think they legitimized this ball club a long time ago. The outcome becomes obviously important if you're a DePaul fan, but they are a legitimate top 10 program.
All right, what can you do now? What if you're DePaul? What's Joey got left? Got to get the inbound steal or a foul instantly.
Well, you're going, I don't know if you want to foul. I think you want to play solid defense right down into you get to maybe 7-8 seconds. Just play solid defense. Don't go for the foul right away.
Looking at the free throw shooters, let's see, they're bringing Winston back in. They've got Dwayne Bryant back in. McDonald is in. Also Jaron Jackson and Reggie Williams.
Well, you don't want to foul that guy.
Well, they did. That's Edwards on the foul. Yep. Williams is the guy who hit the big 3-pointer. He's an 82% free throw shooter. But remember this, Billy, Georgetown in this half is only 1 of 6 from the free throw line. Another substitution, Jefferson coming in. Going to get him in there for some rebounding ability. 16 seconds left.
Now, out of that batch, and of course you don't have time to take the man you want. Tillman coming back in. He was the poorest free throw shooter, so John had him out. Dunbar high prospect.
Remember, though, you got the three-point play. One trip down the floor if he would hit this free throw. That's the difference in college basketball.
That's right.
DePaul has one timeout.
Now, you can think about fouling here. If Strickland touched the ball, I'd foul him.
They got to get a three-pointer underway somehow.
Don't let him get off the three. That's not a three. That's a two.
And it's going to be DePaul's basketball. We're waiting. They're determining, the three officials getting their heads together. No determination. They're going to give it to the Blue Demons.
Now, I would go ahead and foul Strickland. Might even get an intentional here, because the only way they can win the game is overtime with a three-pointer. And don't let them get off a three-point shot.
Andy Laux has checked in.
Sure.
Number 14, Brundy checks out. 3 seconds.
Laux
is... And that's broken up, and a foul on Williams. But that's not that bad.
No, that doesn't hurt you. That doesn't hurt you. Now what you have to think about, if you're John, you have no more timeouts. If you're Lau, what are you going to do? Try to make the first one, miss the second. That's your only chance to win the game.
That's right.
So you really have to be thinking block out here.
Now they're going to bring Edwards in. The specialists. John Thompson in.
Bring Edwards in, but don't take Reggie Williams out.
Well, they got Edwards and Highsmith both in there. Jefferson in there. Look at John. I don't know what he's upset about.
You know, here's what he's upset about is the blockout position. He had Jefferson on the inside.
That was not going to do it.
I don't know why he did that.
Edwards. And we have no unbeaten teams in college basketball. The Chevrolet most valuable players of the game for DePaul, Dallas Comegys. Mark Tillman for Georgetown. A check in the amount of $1,000 will be donated to each college's general scholarship fund to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields. And so DePaul, one of 3 unbeaten teams at the beginning of this weekend, goes down to defeat Georgetown, winning. They're now 14-2. DePaul goes to 16-1. John Thompson's team pulling it up. So for Billy Packer, this is Gary Bender saying so long from the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, where the final score, Georgetown 74, DePaul 71. Don't forget to join us Saturday for more NCAA basketball coverage with a doubleheader tipping off at 1 o'clock Eastern as the top-ranked Iowa Hawkeyes travel to Ann Arbor to meet the Michigan Wolverines. In Game 2, it's a battle of the Big East as Syracuse and Georgetown meet for the first time this year, starting at 3 o'clock Eastern. Coming up next on Super Sunday, it's the NBA on CBS Sports as the Philadelphia 76ers battle Larry Bird and the division-leading Boston Celtics in the Boston Garden. Followed by the Super Bowl today. Pre-game coverage of Super Bowl 21 with Brent Musburger, Irv Cross, and Jimmy the Greek. NCAA basketball has been a presentation of CBS Sports.